Hi, everybody. Today we have Naureen Hyat, the co-founder and CEO of Taze Financial Services. It's Pakistan's first digital institution, financial, which provides access to instant loans, insurance, and savings, all within one app. And Naureen here started this journey with a co-founder, and she's been an amazing, I think, person who I really wanted to talk to for the series, especially because, yes, she's a woman, which means that she's obviously gone through more hurdles as a Pakistani, founder who started off in the startup ecosystem. But also wanted to really know more about, how you came up with this idea, what has been your journey through your 20s until now. Mashallah, the startup is doing really, really well. It got acquired by Zutbe as well. So I just wanted to know more about the mindset, the goals, and the journey that you've had so far.
Yeah, so I think, wow, it's been quite a journey actually. Honestly, I never thought I'd be, well, this term entrepreneur is so new. I never thought I'd start something of my own to begin with. I was actually, my mindset, I was trained to be in a very conventional environment where I was actually, training to be a doctor. In my 20s, my early 20s, so that was the passion. I think medicine is still my first love, to be very honest. It still excites me.
Right.
But, for whatever reasons, happened in my personal life and otherwise, I didn't pursue medicine. But I took up finance, and the focus was more so I wanted to do something that was development related. So karte karte, I landed my first job in a credit rating agency. I think I don't know, it was probably destiny. I had various entities that I was rating, many different sectors, power, banking, har tarah ka sector tha, but I was lucky enough to become a specialist for the microfinance sector. Pakistan ने microfinance में बहुत काम किया. This is back in 2011-12 when I was working I was rating the sector. उस वक्त समझ आई what is the sector all about. We got to know about the intricacies of the sector. And the sector was actually created in Pakistan with the mandate to help alleviate poverty. उस वक्त ये था कि there was a handful of MFIs, which is microfinance institutions and microfinance banks. So the sector was criticized, has always been criticized for having high interest rates. And when you actually dwell deeper and you look into the models of these organizations, you realize that it's not actually the institutions who are charging these high interest rates to earn high margins, but it's actually the MFIs and MFBs that actually go to the base of the pyramid to reach people that otherwise conventional banks do not, serve. And when they go to these far-flung areas, there are very high costs involved in serving these. Why? Because there are high operational costs involved. There's a lot of field work that goes into it. Also, this customer is also very risky, so there's high cost of risk also. So, ultimately, what's charged to the end consumer, they have to pass on their cost, unfortunately. So, us waqt, when I was working with this credit rating agency in Lahore, it's called Pakra. My co-founder then and also now, Hamza, he was also working at Pakra, and we both were working on the microfinance sector.
Okay.
I think, I don't know, what destiny thi, jo bhi tha, and we both shared a very similar passion, So, we had the chance to work with the Smart Campaign. Smart Campaign, it's a program that was started by the Center for Financial Inclusion, and it works for client protection principles of microfinance institutions. So, अब करते करते, we यहाँ जो face कर रहे हैं MFI operational costs, and उसको अगर हम कम कर सकते हैं, benefits can be passed on to the end consumer, जो base of the pyramid customer है, उसको हम कैसे कर सकते हैं? The best way to do it is to use technology. Right. So that's when Hamza and I actually came up with we founded our first company. It was called Check-in Solutions. Or it was कोई plan नहीं था यार, startup है. पाकिस्तान में तो वैसे ही terms use नहीं होते थे. It was so early in the day. We knew nothing about fundraising क्या होती है, valuations क्या होती है. We knew nothing honestly. But we had a passion, we knew कि यार हमने ये करना है और कैसे करना है ये भी नहीं पता था. But हमने कहा चलो, let's start. We have to start something. Thankfully, we had good industry knowledge, but that's all. So we had to make our way. We had to learn. We had to make mistakes. So Check-in actually was founded, and it was a fintech. And the aim of Check-in was actually to automate the entire credit disbursement process for microfinance institutions. Right. So सारा जो काम operationally field पे हो रहा था, हमने कहा हम एक software बनाते हैं जिससे जो आप field officer को देंगे और उसका सारा काम आप digitize करते हैं. वो जो 2 हफ्ते की जर्नी लोन देने में लगती है, जिसमें लोन ऑफिसर जाता है, वो जाके फॉर्म भरता है, फिर वो वापस आता है ब्रांच में डालता है in the systems, and then a verification officer goes and vets that again. So it's an entire process. It's really interesting, but it's human intensive and it's time intensive. And of course, it's otherwise, very costly. और errors भी बहुत होते हैं. So हमने कहा इसको हम replace करते हैं technology से. So we created that technology and then we started going on to meet different. अच्छा नहीं, actually अभी नहीं. इससे पहले ये हुआ कि हमने सोचा हमने अभी तो company तो कभी को बनाई नहीं. थोड़ा सा experience ले होता क्या है, how to run a company on your own. Working for a company is very different, but running one is completely different.
True. Yeah.
आप तो इतने शील्डेड होते हैं रियलिटी से कि कंपनी रन कैसे हो रही है, पीछे पैसे कहाँ से आ रहे हैं आपकी सैलरी देने के लिए, but there's so many things to it, and that's something that we've learned over time. So then we decided, so I went on to join another startup at the time. That was, this is in Lahore, and that was an e-commerce startup, but it was nonetheless a startup. And ironically, that e-commerce startup is really benefiting us now, and I'll tell you why.
Sure.
Then I went join that startup. Hamza went on to join a microfinance institution. So हमने पूरी full time jobs थी हमारी 9 to 6. सुबह हम काम करते थे अपनी jobs पे, शाम को आके हम check-in पे काम करते थे, weekends पे check-in पे काम करते थे. But it was very difficult because we couldn't have done injustice to our company that we were working for.
Yep.
And ये भी नई company थी, इसके लिए भी time चाहिए था.
Sure.
So even 1 year, 9 months to a year, we worked with this organization, but it was becoming very difficult. So we decided to take the plunge. That was the tough. अभी salaries जो छोड़नी पड़ती है ना आपको, let's take the plunge. हमें check-in को अपना full time देना पड़ेगा.
One question, Naureen, on that part. At that time, was check-in generating any revenue when you decided to take that plunge? Yeah, nahi?
No, it wasn't.
Okay, wow.
It wasn't. So it was actually, we were actually creating the technology. तो कुछ भी नहीं था उस वक्त.
Okay.
But I think to our benefit, we were very fortunate, we didn't have to think about bringing food to the table. Thankfully, we've been, I think that's maybe a responsibility we have because we've been blessed with so much.
Yep.
We had the liberty to be able to think like that. Many people don't have that liberty, that they still take that, So, I think that was, shukr alhamdulillah, we had that benefit. कि यार खाना table पे नहीं लाना हमने. So we could have, nonetheless, it was still a risk that we were taking.
Yep.
And for our parents, it was very new. They were like, पता नहीं क्या करें ये लोग. My father was like, oh ये बहुत बड़ा group है, इसको join कर लो. तुमने CFA भी कर लिया है. I was like, it doesn't matter. Don't worry. I know what I'm doing. So I think वो भी काफी interesting था. So everyone was like, they were quiet. They knew I was always like a nerd and I knew what I wanted to do. So I think they were like, she's probably making a mistake, but she learned in time.
Yeah.
जब हमने check-in को full time अपना time देना शुरू किया, then that's when we started to go meet microfinance institutions, banks. And everyone really liked the idea, and they were like, we want to do this, but अब ये 2015 की बात है. Too early.
Yeah.
Institutions were not ready to accept technology. And of course, their budgets भी different prioritized थे. But एक और जो चीज हो रही थी इस वक्त sector में, वो ये था कि microfinance institutions इस वक्त regulated नहीं होते थे. So the SECP had recently imposed regulations where all MFIs were going to be regulated. So I think वो सारा transition चल रहा था. It was at that time that we actually approached Mr. Nadeem Hussain, who was the founder of Easy Pesa and Tamir Bank, for his guidance.
We'll be talking to him in the series as well.
That's you will get to learn a lot from him.
Yeah.
So इससे फिर हमने, he had just exited Tamir. So मैंने कहा Hamza, let's just get in touch. Ironically, I used to rate Tamir Bank when I was at Pakra, but I never got the chance to meet him. So मैंने कहा Hamza, चलो let's get in touch with him. Let's see. मैंने कहा LinkedIn पे message डालती हूँ. Hamza was like, he's not going to reply to you. तो तुमने जो करना है करो. I was like, I'm still going to try. He literally replied within 15 minutes.
Wow.
And he's like, set up a meeting. I'm going to meet you guys. हमारी अगले दिन उनके साथ call हुई. And he said, I'm coming to Lahore and it's an hour. You guys come and meet me. So उनका ये होता है, we usually 20 minutes allot किए होते हैं in a time slots to meet people. So वो हमारी 20-minute की meeting went on to over an hour. We met him. He said, I'm going to support you guys. तुम्हें वो guide करूँगा, देखो, you guys keep on doing it, but इस वक्त the market is not ready for it because institutions को नहीं समझ, but you guys still try. We like ठीक है, हमने कोशिश की, कुछ महीने होता रहा, साथ में हमने थोड़ी बहुत consultancies पकड़ी to get some revenue going. So everything is happening. हमने बीच में fun fair भी किया to do some fundraising. We were literally bootstrapping. We were working out of a friend's office. It was an incredible experience. So उसके बाद हमने Nadeem sir was like, I can feel it in my bones. We'll be partners one day. Pata nahi, dekhte hain.
How long ago was this?
Yeah, this is actually back in 2000, end of 15, beginning 16 type
Okay.
time.
Okay.
16 tha ye probably. And I think then, that we participated in this Karan Das ka pehla Fintech Disrupt Challenge hua tha us time pe. And, some of his companies and the Planet and were also participating. And so it was quite an experience. We made it to the top. We made it to the finalists. We didn't win that, but would be kind of interesting experience. So I think we started getting noticing in terms of what we were doing. But who are ye कि end में MFIs were not ready. We were like, get up, क्या करें? So Nadeem sir was like, ये B2B model नहीं चलेगा. We need to show people how it's done. So let's do it together and let's go to the masses as well. So that's when we joined hands with Nadeem sir and Taze was born.
Amazing. Honestly, that is so cool.
It was quite a journey. And here, so this was in 2000, end of 16, beginning 17 type time. End of 16th actually. So then, we started working on Taze, and Taze का Taze का model plan ये था to be a full stack neobank, जिसमें as you mentioned, plan तक credit करेंगे, savings करेंगे, insurance करेंगे, investments करेंगे. हमने सारे products visualize किए. But when we started actually working on it for investors, actually Taze name, we were actually the first. Well, one of the first fintech. Actually, I wouldn't say the first fintech because Finja had already raised funding, I think. And then, but they did not. They actually, I don't know. They didn't have a license there. We were actually the first fintech to get licensed. We raised funding. We raised funding from the Media Network, which is now Flourish Ventures and Axion.
Okay.
And so we raised over $1 million. उस वक्त के लिए $100,000 to $200,000 raised होते थे. $1 million was a big amount.
I remember. Yeah.
ये वो टाइम था. अब तो आप $100 million भी रेज करते हैं तो कहते हैं अच्छा यार कोई नहीं अब तो वो टाइम है ना.
Yeah.
So we went through that journey, and then Taze, then we started focusing primarily on credit. We thought that we'll launch one product. We'll focus on this. Our teams then the focus was to actually develop our risk scoring models, the credit scoring models, and to start then do lending at scale. So so that was really Taze ki journey, and then fast forward this year we got acquired by Zootpay. So it's been very very it's been quite a wholesome journey,
I can
but
only
the
imagine.
purpose is still there. So purpose abhi bhi chal raha hai. We're still working towards that purpose. Whether it's under, well, technically it's still Taze, but whatever entity that might be,
True.
purpose सबसे important चीज that's kept us going.
But then I would really want to understand, Naureen, like again, to get acquired, to exit, you really need to find a match. Like for example, when you're looking for a co-founder, you need to find that match of values. Even when you're looking for an acquisition, for exit, again, you need to find that match of values. I want to understand like how, just the thought and the mind process, of how did you choose, whether it's your co-founder, whether it's your mentor / partner, and then, your company that's acquiring you.
Yeah, I have been so fortunate. Allah is so kind to me. Honestly, सबसे मुश्किल चीज है co-founder अच्छा होना मिलना. I think it's very difficult. I've been talking to a lot of people, and they struggle. And most companies, most startups fail because of founder conflict.
True.
But shukr alhamdulillah, thankfully, I have been so fortunate. Literally, it was given. This my co-founders were given to me on a platter. Like Hamza ke saath, I was working with him, and we just connected on so many levels. So I think that passion, that shared passion and vision that we had, it was just really, it was serendipitous that we had that working in a small company. वो भी credit ratings में कहाँ से development का काम करने आ. And then Nadeem sir, of course, he needs no introduction, but he is phenomenal in the way that at his age, I'm yet to see someone who's so forward-looking. He is literally he's our kudos to him because he's such an accomplished person. Uske bawajood, I think thanks to him that he gave us that platform, honestly. And with him, I think it was a no-brainer because he is such a respected individual in the industry.
Right.
He helped us with partnerships with banks. So that way, I think we had a good match in terms of how we were working together. And I think सबसे बड़ी जो चीज होती है trust होता है and respect होती है. So बाकी चीजें सब होती हैं, capabilities भी होती हैं, skills भी होती हैं, but अगर ये दो चीजें नहीं है, मेंटल वेवलेंथ ऑफ कोर्स मैच करनी होती है, बट ट्रस्ट और रिस्पेक्ट नहीं है ना, तो ये दो फंडामेंटल्स के बाद चलना बड़ा मुश्किल है।
That part I totally agree with that. But then also, Naureen, एक और सवाल. But yeah, I think going back to your journey, right? Starting off your first startup, finding your co-founder, mashallah, the right one, which again is a very big deal. And now going into a startup where, how big is your team right now, if I can ask?
Yeah, so now of course with the global team,
Yep.
we're about 400 people globally with Zoot पे.
Right.
So we're working all together now. It's not just Pakistan की operation सिर्फ Pakistan team देख रही है. It's literally a global operation.
Right. But then I would really want to know, okay, what sort of skill set or what were the biggest learnings that you've had since Check-in and then now Taze and then now Zoot?
So before that, you know, when you're talking about team,
Yeah.
Taze was never more than 40 people at any given stage. जिसमें हमारी customer support team भी included थी.
Oh, okay, wow.
We were a very lean team, you know, and you know, I think fintech's का मकसद ही है कि they can actually bring operational costs down using technology.
True.
We were very efficient. I think our team was, you know, champions, honestly, all of them. All of them, we actually made sure कि जो भी team में they shared a vision, you know. Culturally, we were all aligned. वो बहुत matter करता है. So we had a small team. But everyone was working in the company as if it was their own. So I think उससे बहुत अकेले आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते. So literally the team worked, you know, we worked together for it. So it was a lean team. At the end of it, बहुत कम लोग रह गए थे because you know the structure was such that we were actually getting acquired, but nonetheless it was always. And yeah, skill set, that's actually a tough one. बहुत चीजें सीखी हैं. मुझे नहीं पता बहुत सारी चीजें मुझे और बहुत चीजें सीखनी हैं. But I think there's so many different levels I've learned
I
things.
can imagine.
मुझे समझ आए, I think personally अपनी growth के लिए I have a lot to learn, but I think managing my expectations, managing people, if I'm not to go into the intricacies of how the actual industry experience was, that was a different thing. But that was one thing. I think वो एक बहुत important चीज होती है.
True.
And I think एक जो सबसे बड़ी चीज challenges और uncertainties को कैसे manage करना है. I think that became second nature. Literally second nature. It's like आज भी कोई challenge आ गया, you know, unexpected चीज आ गई, it's not like we're going to react. Like, oh, अच्छा चलो उसको करना है, कैसे करना है, ये सोच. You know, so I think that becomes second nature to you because you, as a startup founder, you're firefighting all the time, and being in the regulated space, it's even tougher.
Even tougher. Yeah, true. Yep.
You don't have the right to be a startup if you're regulated in Pakistan.
But when we're talking about the fintech space, Naureen, I think since again your experience, mashallah, has been amazing, and also the product and the service that you're providing right now is, I mean, I think इतने सारे players इस वक्त आ रहे हैं पाकिस्तान में, and for me to, you know, like sit from the outside and see कि यार पाकिस्तान में माशाल्लाह ये भी हो रहा है, वो भी हो रहा है. There's Finja that started off, and then there's Taze, and then there's Sada Pay, and then something else, and then something else. So there's a lot of like trends that are coming up for the fintech industry, especially in Pakistan right now. Turns out अभी mass adoption भी चल रही है. People are finally ready, which also means there's more competition in the market. So how do you continuously like innovate, like Taze, and I mean in the sense like bring that sort of innovation to Zoot right now in terms of expansion in Pakistan?
Yeah, because I think सबसे important चीज़ है you have to remain true to the vision that you have. You can't, just because so many different things are happening, पता है एक FOMO होती है चीज़. You have to be very very focused on what you want to achieve. ये short term चीज़ नहीं है, you know. Correct. We set out for a long term goal, and ये सिर्फ individual goals नहीं है. It's for the ecosystem, and you know I think it's very important for startup founders, particularly in an environment like ours, to understand that you have a responsibility towards the ecosystem and the country, and inshallah whenever they expand, there's a responsibility. ये समझना बड़ी ज़रूरी चीज़ है. So I think for us, yes, you know, you do tend to get distracted by noise. I'd say it's noise in the market, but I don't think it's bad noise. Of course, there's so amazing stuff, you know, coming for us. So innovation की ज़रूरत बहुत different levels पे इस तरह से कि पहले तो अपने basics target करने हैं, you know, customer journey कैसे होगी. अच्छा, innovation बहुत different तरह की. एक तो innovation हुआ है कि product innovation क्या है, ठीक है? एक innovation ये है कि journeys में innovation कैसे होगी. दूसरी इनोवेशन ये है कि आप यार एक्विजिशन कस्टमर को टारगेट कैसे करें, उसमें एक अलग तरह की इनोवेशन हो सकती है. You know, for someone like you, for example, you know, for example, getting the interest of the masses, someone who's not educated, उसके लिए मार्केटिंग कैसे करनी है, वहाँ इनोवेशन आ सकती है. You know, so innovation बहुत levels पे है.
Wow.
एंड फिर इनोवेशन ये आ सकती है, यार आपके पास फंडिंग नहीं है या
Mhm.
फंडिंग कम है, अब आपने किस तरह के इंस्ट्रूमेंट स्ट्रक्चर करने हैं जहाँ से आप फंड कर सकते हैं अपनी लोन को। सो इनोवेशन बहुत डिफरेंट लेवल्स पे देखी जा सकती
Very
है।
true.
यू
Very,
नो,
very true.
इनोवेशन है क्या ऑनेस्टली, यू नो, सो इट्स नॉट कि यार आपने बस प्रोडक्ट को चेंज करते रहना, नहीं, अभी आई थिंक प्रोडक्ट को पहले सही करना है, अभी तो
Mhm.
there's so much to do with the product, अपने जर्नीज को एक्चुअली सही करना है।
Mhm.
और जरूरी नहीं कि हर चीज हाई टेक हो, ऑनेस्टली हम लोग के जैसे एनवायरनमेंट्स में हाई टेक जरूरी नहीं है वर्क करे, देयर हैज टू बी लॉट ऑफ हैंड होल्डिंग, देयर हैज टू बी हाई टच with high tech, but the journeys have to be so seamless कि
Yep.
वो you embed it into the life of the customer. You don't have to make the customer change, you know, their daily lifestyle to accept technology.
Mhm.
You have to make technology part of that life.
I love that so much because honestly, like it does add so much more perspective, right? Like you said, innovation hoti kya hai? And it's such like a broad sort of a vague term. But now that you've broken it down to many different sort of levels and different areas of the same thing that kind of, combine the whole vision in one, yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. Thank you for that. But I think last sawal, Naureen, since we're also a little out of time, but yeah, one for the series, since we're targeting more towards, people who are in their 20s, and mashallah, you've also had a really, really amazing journey, starting from, medicine and then choosing finance and then knowing, yeah, startup kar rahe, nahi kar rahe, turns out to be a startup, gets acquired and mashallah doing so well. So I would really want to know, what is your advice for people who are in their 20s, let's say starting off their careers, people who want to start a startup later on in the future, or just even looking for a job right now? Like, what is your advice to them?
Yeah, I really believe in this. जो भी करो आप, whether you work for a
Mhm.
company or you want to create your own company, it's important to have a purpose. I would encourage to find that purpose.
Mhm.
सिर्फ because दुनिया कर रही है हमने करना है, don't do that, because you'll
Okay.
never
Mhm.
be able to, you won't be true to that, whatever you're doing then. So एक purpose, find that purpose, be true to that purpose, and अगर वो purpose जब मिल जाए ना, just pursue it with passion, क्योंकि you know और बहुत मुश्किल है, this journey is, it's over glorified entrepreneurship, that it's over glorified field.
Mhm.
So just be very, I think, passion, perseverance, power of the pack, the team, and pivot के बारे में, I think for startup or young entrepreneurs who've already started off, we get so attached to our ideas and the way we want to pursue that idea
Mhm.
कि हम हिलना ही नहीं चाहते उससे, and that can be very detrimental. So have a fail fast innovation approach. You need to be flexible to adopt and to adapt, So I think that's something that I would definitely recommend that people keep in their mind when they start their own things.
Amazing. One last question. I know it's less than a
Yeah.
minute, but we're
Go ahead.
like running against time here. But okay, Noreen, the first word that comes to your mind when I say, what should people in their 20s invest their time in?
Learning,
Their money.
saving,
Good one. Invest their energy.
a purpose, passion. I don't know, purpose.
Got it. Awesome. But yeah, I think thank you so much, Noreen. This has been like a full pack, honestly, for me, like learning of at least 20 to 30 minutes, but really, really good. Thank you so much for this.
You're most welcome. Thank you for having me. The pleasure has been all mine.
No, thank you. Honestly, I'm so glad that you actually said yes to this. Thank you so much.
Most welcome.